The dogs run fast.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome into my dog's favorite podcast, the Dynasty Dogs. Rich is not here with me. He's gambling away all his money down in Atlantic City. So I have two guests here. I have two guests with me tonight. This is a first for the Dynasty Dogs. We've never been a three-person pod before. This is going to be very interesting and stressful for me. But in the co-host chair with me first is the Devy Mastermind himself, SC Romero. How are you?
Good, brother. Good. And glad to be here. Got Dustin here too. I'm sure you'll introduce here in a sec. But always a pleasure to be with the dogs, man. You know how it is. You know, we bark, all bark and bite, right? So we're excited to be here and talk some rookies and do a draft, man. I know people are excited in the draft already, so we're ready to get that going.
Yeah, my dogs just got excited and started barking because, of course, that happens right away, right? But also in the doghouse with us tonight is a brand new member, an adopted member for this evening. That is going to be Dustin. You can follow him at Empire Elite FF on Twitter. He's growing his brand a bit, and it's awesome conversating with him. Dustin, how you doing?
Fellas, happy to be here. Happy to be here, man. The Empire recognizes the only one true king of the North. Come on. Little GOT reference for the boys.
That has been in my Twitter bio for the longest amount of time, and nobody has caught it yet. And nobody has said anything to me about it until you mentioned the Dynasty Dogs logo. You asked if those were dire wolves or dogs, and I was like, well, it's dogs, sir. But like, I have no issue calling them dire wolves either, because Rich and I are both big Game of Thrones fan. I am going to plan to hang up my Stark flag in the back behind me at some point. But gentlemen, we have a lot to get into tonight. A lot of conversating going on. There's really only one bit of news. We'll talk about that after the rookie draft. But like SC mentioned, we have a Superflex rookie mock that we are going to be doing 4 rounds. Tight end premium is not something I mentioned, so we will make a tight end premium. I will put that in the sleeper chat here that it will be tight end premium, so people are aware.
While you're doing that, Mike, not just while you're going through the getting that ready, you know, I just want to point out people are getting the jitters, like right here, you know, Cambodian Milk, he's in with us. I have a feeling I'm not gonna like my picks based on previous mocks I've done. This is there a fun spot depending. Hey, but that's the beauty of it, right? These are where you get the jitters out before your actual live drafts, right? So we have Josh Hawkins. I have an idea of the players that you like, and at 109 you might need to decide who you dislike the least. we got some trash talking going on, man. I love it.
So the problem is like all three of us conversate in a whole bunch of different like ways, Twitter, Discord, stuff like that. So a lot of people already have an idea of what the hell we're doing, and this is going to be really annoying, to be honest with you, but really fun at the same time. Also, after the rookie draft, we are going to be going over 2 rookie profiles of the 2025 class in wide receiver Jalen Royals of Utah State, and one of the most polarizing prospects of this class, Travis Hunter of Colorado. That's going to be a very interesting conversation. I'm very interested to see what these two gentlemen think on these 2 players. Before we get started, what is your take on, is it best player available or is it need when you come to your rookie draft? We'll go with you first, Dustin.
Always best player available. I'm not going to let need dictate who I'm drafting there. I'm always going to take who's the best player available, and then you can always trade for need later. I think that's kind of some common strategy that's really being put out there, and I'll always align with that. I won't fault you if you have a huge need, like say running back, and you're picking at the top, and you have your choice of the litter at these top running backs. So I can't fault somebody for that. But remember, you can always trade for your needs later.
What do you think, SC? What's yours?
Man, see, I know a lot of people go BPA. I'm completely different, man. Because if I have a gaping hole, I'm going after that need. Like, there's no reason to draft a quarterback in a super flex league if I have 3 starting quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather go after someone. If I have no running backs, I'm gonna try to get a running back. Now, with that also tells me if I don't feel a running back is of value in the pick that I have, like I could get them later, I'm gonna do everything I can to try to trade back as well. Like I'm not necessarily overdrafting for my need, but I do want to get my need. So I'll figure out the value and what I can get. Maybe I get a low end running back in a late first or something to move back or whatever it may be. Because you have to know your values, right? If you have a plethora of running backs, like say you have JT, Bijan, and Jamar Gibbs for, that's a stacked running back room. Do you need Gency? Sure, you can use him, but you can probably get a king's ransom for that 101 and stack up elsewhere as well. So that's my take on it when it comes to it. BPA, sometimes you can't pass it up, but I always try to draft for my needs to, make sure my squad is fully stacked in every position.
Yeah, for me, it's really team dependent, to be honest with you. On podcast several times saying if I have the 101 and I'm in a brand spanking new part of a rebuild where a running back is going to do me no good other than kind of ruin my future draft picks, to be honest with you, I'm moving back from the 101, acquiring multiple assets and moving back to, well, I guess we'll find out here shortly where Cam Ward goes in this rookie draft, and trying to get oh, hey, how's it going, Pete Nova? How are you? And then we will try to grab one of the quarterbacks there and still build up those running backs in like the second round, wide receivers. I just don't think drafting Genty at the 101 in a brand new rebuild is going to do you really any good, even though he is technically the best player available. It's just really team dependent.
I know I kind of went crazy with the comments. We had a lot of preloaded in there for us, so I was going through them. Just want to get to Jose, man. Appreciate you, dog. We're in here. Cambodian, no jitters. He got JJ at 109. Hey, I got BTJ at 112 last year. So, I mean, people fall all the time. And when it comes to drafts, consensus, that matters and everything. But truthfully, every league is different. Know your league. Like the consensus can have all these players here. Your league may not think that at all. So players are going to drop and you may be able to get stud people in the back end depending on what your league is. So it's important to know who your league values, and every league is different. So if we're in 3 in the league, but we're in 3 separate leagues ourselves, all those leagues are going to have different draft takes. No one draft is going to be the exact same. So you always have to keep that in mind too whenever you're making those picks. Jamie, veteran of ours, man. What's up, guy?
Yeah, Jamie came in last week with the live episode again with just the most amount of insane facts that I had no idea. I believe he said Hank Aaron is the great uncle of Kimani Vidal, which is not something I had any idea was a fact, but like it really caught me off guard and I really enjoyed it. So this Superflex draft, let's see, where are we at? I am at the pick 107. Dustin is at the 1-8. And where are you, SC? At the 1-4. So this is going to be a very interesting, a little bit of sniping going on between the three of us. SC is not far off from me. Dustin and I are going to be kind of battling back and forth on that turnaround. So we'll be seeing how that goes. But are you guys ready to get this started?
Yeah, brother. Let's get it.
Oh, yeah, man. I've been ready all day.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's the problem. You and I have been talking about this.
Hey, man, we woke up.
Yeah. So our good buddy, the A-Train, Andy Blake, is going to be the first pick of this draft. Andy was saying earlier, I think it was either last night or before, this is his first opportunity of getting Ashton Genty, or only opportunity of getting Ashton Genty. So I know he's really happy about this. I did forget to put this on the stage. I am a terrible host. I apologize, gentlemen. There it is.
That was me.
Oh, Hampton, right off.
Oh, that's gonna hurt SC there a bit. I know.
Yeah. So we said in the chat that I called dibs on Hampton at 104, and whoever took him before that is a mean person. So DS80, you're a mean person, my guy.
Ooh, we got beef right away.
Yeah.
Nothing better than a little bit of beef in a draft, to be honest with you.
So this becomes a big part because I do have Cam Ward as my 101 in the QB, as QB1, not 101, QB1. And I think at 104, if you have those three guys taking him, I gotta go Cam.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that, to be honest with you.
I do like Henderson there, but I think Cam's the best part to be there.
It's hard to ignore a guy who's likely to go top of the draft, number 1 overall in the draft. It's hard to pass up in a Superflex.
Not only that, we've seen quarterbacks maintain value even if they don't produce at a high level from year 1 on. Like Bryce Young was what, the 101, the 102, just depend, or 101 to 104 in that range, and he's still worth like a late first at this point in Superflex drafts. I am actually on the board right now, so let's see where I'm going to go here. I forgot you guys can see my mouse and what I'm doing. So this is going to be difficult for me. Am I going to go my running back 3 of the class in Travion Henderson, or his teammate Emeka Buka, who is my wide receiver 2B of this wide receiver class? So this is a tough spot for me, and I think I'm going to lean, since this being a higher end running back class, I'm going to go with Travion Henderson at the 1-7. I am very excited for his landing spot potential, especially. I believe he could be a 2nd, 3rd round pick. California Cool says Judkins is the RB3 of this class, possibly at one of the worst hands of this class at RB3, maybe. No, I'm just kidding. I love Judkins too. He is up there. He is my running back 4, so he's not far off. Those 2 players are back to back.
No, I'm right in the same situation you were in, man, and I got to stay on brand. You know, this is a guy that I've talked about ad nauseum, who, you know, I struggle ranking between Hampton, Henderson, and Judkins. I just think he's a smash no matter where he goes. I'm going with Judkins. I think he gets that high end, at least 2nd round draft cap. He's early career Kareem Hunt in my mind. I can't pass him up.
You know what's funny? My co-host Rich is not here with me tonight. I already said that. I don't know why I repeated that, but his comp for him was Kareem Hunt as well. So I love that comp, and I could see the similar play styles. I'm very interested to see where Judkins goes. He absolutely crushed that combine. A much better combine than I expected, especially with the speed.
Yes, at 221 pounds, 11-foot broad jump, I could talk about Judkins all day, so I'm just going to stop.
So is he your running back 2? I'm sorry, real quick. Is he your running back 2, 3? Where is he for you, Dustin?
Right now, I struggle with the rankings. I got him in the same tier as Hampton and Henderson. I got those 3 kind of competing for that RB2 spot. Essentially, I think the draft is going to help me differentiate between them. But as of now, it's the cop out. I got them all in the same tier.
Can't really go wrong with it, to be honest with you. These are all 3 talented guys. I know SC has a bit of a spicy take, locked and loaded. I'm sure he's going to say it at some point.
Yeah, man. Hampton's my 1, Judkins my 2, and Genty my 3. It really comes down to, I love Genty, but when I looked at the Oregon game and the Penn State game, I love the stats said stuff, but you watch those were harder games for him than the other games he had. And so we knew Judkins dominated in the SEC. I saw Hampton do great things in the ACC consistently overall, and it really, with other teammates involved too, they weren't the main focuses, and Judkins continued to do that at Ohio State. There's a lot to love about him. Henderson scares me. Henderson, if he goes, I don't want to see him as a lead back. He has to go somewhere where he's in a committee, because I don't think he's going to take that full time share. But if he's able to get out and get some rest, then that's where I think he could shine, and he could be someone that explodes and is a home run hitter for you as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I couldn't have said it any better. Those of us in Devy, man, we've been waiting on Judkins for sure, since that freshman season.
100%.
Look at this, fellas. We got Sanders at 111. Hunter at 2-1.
Hunter at 2-1. Caleb Johnson at 2-2. Royals at 2-3.
I will talk that 2-3 at Royals, but what do y'all think about that?
Man, it's a little high right now.
Yeah.
I want to kind of go at the end of this draft, kind of break it all down, but it's hard to not talk about him going at the 2-3. He's one of my favorite wide receivers of the class, and he is my wide receiver 6. So he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, actually 6th off the board in this class. But there is still several players I would probably take over him at this point, especially in a super flex draft. What do you guys think?
So I agree, and this guy I'm taking next is one of them I would take over.
Yes,
Jalen Royals. I will say Neil is there, but I think Neil, you can get him later. I would have. Oh, there you go. Shit. Well, never mind. I should have taken Neil.
I should have told you guys. A lot of these people are from the Empire.
And
we're pretty high on Neil.
I forgot they're listening too, so they're probably like, "Oh, he's talking about. We'll go ahead and take him there." that is one of the worst parts about being, someone that does shows and stuff is like we're giving our true takes. So when you're listening, if you're drafting with us, you know who we like, right? So go in there and get it.
For sure.
And the guy who took
Mike, you're on the clock, buddy.
Yeah, I know. Ben is the guy who took Devin Neal, and I knew that was definitely a high possibility. But you guys are giving me a possible first-round quarterback at the 2-7.
There you go.
Thank you for that, by the way.
Okay.
I am super excited to see where he goes. If he lands in Pittsburgh with DK Metcalf and George Pickens, it is going to be wheels up. It might not be right away, but, man, he can spin it. And I'm interested to see where he goes. I think the early part of the first is going to be a little too high for him, but in that back end first, like where that Pittsburgh pick is, or I'm very excited for that. Or even the backup to the Rams with Matthew Stafford would be a great spot for him.
Oh, I would love it with Matthew Stafford. I think some of these guys, I don't want to see them necessarily start, like go to a veteran, and sit behind him for a year at Stafford and go there. That'd be fantastic for Dart. I would love that.
Yeah, I just saw what Dustin did here, and now I'm
that's my tight end too.
It's my tight end too as well, man. I am so pissed off right now. I mean,
man, I love his film, fellas. Like he played Penn State and was it Texas A&M? Mm-hmm. A Big Ten defense and an SEC defense, and he had some of his best games. Don't tell me he played at Bowling Green and didn't have any good competition. Some of his best competition, he had his best games, and I'm over the moon for Fannin, man. And in tight end premium, I get my tight end 2 here at 2.8. Too easy.
Yeah, for sure. Not only that, like you mentioned, there's games against the Big Ten and the SEC. Both those games are over 100 yards for him, which is absolutely insane. He was that entire Bowling Green offense, and they couldn't stop him. That's just an absolute monster after the catch. Some great hands. My comp for him is Delaney Walker, just a little slower, obviously, but they play a very similar game.
Very similar.
Delaney Walker would be an absolute freak in today's NFL, to be honest with you, especially in our tight end premium formats in fantasy.
So let me ask you this, Mike, because you had the pick right there. You could have taken Fanny. You took Dart. Let's say Dart, you said he's a possible first round, right? So let's say he goes to the Rams in the first round. You know he's not starting because they have Stafford, right? Let's say Fanny goes in the second round to the Chargers. Do you take something like that where it's like you take the draft capital because you know it's high and they're invested into Dart? They have that 5th-year option. Or do you take the guy that you're like, all right, he can possibly start year 1 and be a possible, stud at your tight end position?
So I think both these guys, no matter what, might take a year or two to kind of really cement themselves, because we've seen, other than like Brock Bowers and the first year of Kyle Pitts, the tight end position doesn't really take off right away, unless your name is Sam Laporta too is another one. But in a tight end premium league, I think I'm going to lean Fannin, being him as my tight end 2, and this being a stronger tight end class than it is a quarterback class, let's be honest. I think I'm going to take the value, and especially, you got to look at it this way. Next year, we've got Lenore Sellers possibly coming out. We've got Arch Manning possibly coming out. I think both those guys, especially Sellers, in my opinion, is probably better than Dart, in my opinion, especially from a mobility aspect. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Sellers. I know SC is not as high on Lenore as I am, but it's going to be a very interesting pick. So I'm going to go with, tight ends are hard to come by, and kind of like what I mentioned, it's the tight end class is going to not be as strong next year. So I'm going to go with my tight end 2 over my QB 2A 3,
So I'm going to hit on Lenore here in a sec. I have been someone that says take the running backs in this class, but back-to-back receivers I like have fallen to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and take Harris and Restrepo here. Like there's still running backs, but it's like, man, like I think that's too late for him to fall. Like I have him back into the second. So if he's there at 304, I'm like I said, I think he's this year's on a roll where people sleep on him, and he's gonna have a great year. He can easily fit into a slot position for a team and be their guy. And so I really do like Xavier Restrepo and what he could bring, and I think that's too low. And looks like there's a little wide receiver run going, so I'm kind of lucky there. Lenore Sellers, I do like him. There are other quarterbacks I do like coming into next year as well for next year's class. But Sellers, I think he could do some great things as well. I think he's someone that still is a little bit raw. He still needs a lot to learn a little bit. We saw some inconsistencies this past season, and they also got Aaron Nolan with them as well. So I feel his leash is a little bit less there. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do this year, because I feel if he does have those hiccups, they may move on. But he's someone that people have said, hey, is he AR here? Jamie, I believe we are talking about that a little bit later as well.
Yeah, as soon as we're done here, we're going to talk about that Jameis Winston stuff. Back to your Restrepo pick really quick. A lot of these wide receivers, the Tets, not so much Tet, the Goldens, the Hunters, the Treys, really have started to make, and Higgins and Besh for that matter as well, have really started to make names for themselves, at the Senior Bowl, at the Combine. And people forget, Restrepo hasn't really been the star of any of those things, but that dude's just been super consistent, super solid in all of those events. The fact that you're getting him at the 3-4 to me, where I would be taking him at the 210 to 3-1, because this dude's going to be a PPR monster in the NFL. I call him Tattooed Lab McConkey. I know that's a crazy, easy comp, but they place him where I think he's got a little bit more grit than Lad, because I think he's better after the catch, a little bit stronger. But Tattooed Lab McConkey, man, you can't pass on him.
For some reason with Amon Ra, they were doing that too, and he was a nice prospect coming out, and I was getting him around the 303, 304 in drafts, and I was like, I don't understand it. And you go back and look at that draft, he was one of the best ones in that draft, and it's you get a stud here, And Grant, when we get to later rounds, I like a lot of the running backs as well, but I mean, it's just man, you have players fall to you. This is where you can go BPA, because your later rounds, you want to get who you have as the best player on the board.
Totally, and I think people have just kind of shit on this wide receiver class so much because it's all been about the running backs. Man, you could get some great value here, and honestly, I think the wide receivers are a lot better than people are giving them credit for. There's a lot of guys 100%. I like. I'm right there with you on Restrepo, man. He provides a good, easy target for the quarterback, runs good routes. Like you said, he's going to be a PPR machine if he goes to the right fit. And there's a few teams I'm looking for him, but man, great value there at 3-4.
I really like the middle portion of my the middle portion of my wide receiver ranks more than I like the top end portion, if that makes sense. There's a lot of guys in that middle, like my Restrepos, the Royals, the Treys, that are my 5, 6, 7, kind of more than I like, reaching for a not reaching because he's going to be a top pick in the NFL draft, but I'd prefer getting those guys in the second, third round, and then grabbing a Omarion Hampton, Travion Henderson, Quitshot Judkins in the first round over a Tet McMillan, and then addressing the wide receivers in the second and third round. That part of that wide receiver room, or that wide receiver rankings for me, is very exciting.
Absolutely, man. Look at this, DJ Giddens at 4-2. I think he audibly made me and SC both cuss out loud. Doug,
Doug. I legitimately just put him in my queue too, because I was like, oh, he's still on the board. Great. And then this guy, this is the mean guy. This is the one that
he's done it to you a few times already.
Man, I tell you what. Good pick.
A little bit of a hot take for you guys, but I am not the biggest DJ Giddens fan, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people. What's that?
I said, get out. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, you can kick me off my own podcast. This is the FFU. I'm just a guest in this house. But to be honest, man, everything I've watched about Giddens screams super inconsistent to me, whether it be pass catching, whether it be rushing between the tackles, whether it be blocking. A lot of those things just jump off as a guy, can he be an every down back? Holy crap. Yo, lock this one in. Jalen Noel at the 4-7.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I don't know how that happened. I was hoping you were going to keep talking, man. I was hoping you weren't paying attention, and I'm right there. But
I really missed that one. I was,
I don't know how he was still there.
The ADP
right there at the top.
I think he was just put in recently, just judging by the
Was he?
names around. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of
Yeah.
these guys are relatively newer ads. So, I mean, that
This
happens.
this is a tough one for me, fellas. I got a wide receiver here I really like. I could do that. Or I could go, you know what? I'm going to switch it up. I was thinking Ty Felton here, who I love. But I'm
Nice.
gonna pick my QB3 of this class, Mr. Will Howard.
There you go. That's a
Nice.
good
Mr.
one.
Will Howard. I think NFL teams are just gonna love him. I think he's a gamer, man. I think if he's provided the right opportunity, he could be a sneaky value here.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot as well. If there's going to be a guy who could get into day 2, those two options for me are Milrow or Howard. And I think Howard as a passer is a much safer option, obviously. Now, Ty Felton goes right after that, too. So, Torrey Horton as well. Horton's name is starting to come back around. It kind of fell off for a little bit and then has picked up some steam recently. Dude can play, man. I'm just kind of surprised it took this long for people to catch on.
Told you about it, man. That was a guy that if he wasn't hurt, I had him as a top 5 wide receiver, and then he got hurt, and then things happen. But this dude has fantastic hands. He has fantastic footwork. He gets open. He extends the play when he needs to. This is just great things from going to him. I'm excited. I'm gonna get him late. I mean, he's gonna be one of my guys for sure.
Well, I'm saying thank you to everybody.
Let's do you want to go through round by round and just talk about?
Yeah, that's exactly what the plan was. So from the 1-1, we got Ashton Genty, 2, Omarion Hampton, Ted McMillan at the 3, Cam Ward at 4, Tyler Warren at a tight end premium at the 5, Luther Burden at 6, Travion Henderson at 7, Quinshon Judkins at 8, Emeka Buka 9, Matthew Golden 10, Shador Sanders at 11, Colston Loveland at the 12. And again, in a tight end premium league. Is there anything that really jumps out as value to you and what stands out as maybe a little bit of a reach?
I mean, go ahead, Essie.
I would say I think every pick here can be argued. Golden, I might think the one that might slip. I know a lot of people have heavy value on him, and he's also getting first round buzz. So I get it. I think you can argue all of these coming into it. As far as steals, I think it's toss with Burden. I know Burden's high on a lot of people's draft boards. He is on mine too. But in my eyes, with this running back class, I'd personally go Henderson or Judkins over him. But I still like the pick, right? So I'm not. I think the first round is good, and this is again where we can see some different guys fall in different areas that you can go. But I think all these guys are justified first round picks in your rookie mocks, in your rookie drafts. For sure.
What do you think, Dustin?
I mean, just looking right here in the first round, I got a quarterback at 111, a quarterback that's likely to go top 3. I mean, I feel like that's low-hanging fruit right there. I think the hate for Shador Sanders has just gone too far at this point. Like, I get it if you want to call it a weak quarterback class, but like you alluded to earlier, Mike, they can maintain that value even after a down year or when they're not used. But also in a super flex, quarterback's value can go up. They could skyrocket if they do hit. So, I mean, at the back of the first, that's an easy hit. And then right after that, Colston Loveland at 112 and a tight end premium. If he goes to the Los Angeles Chargers with Greg Roman, the tight end kingmaker, and that reunion with Harbaugh, there's no way he's lasting to 112. So I just right there at the back of this first round, tremendous value. If you have late picks, you should be excited because it's likely some great talent is going to fall to you.
Yeah, so the 111 with Shador is the other one that stands out to me as well. Possibly a top, at the worst, I would imagine, top 10 pick, maybe top 15 if things go haywire, maybe some moves back or moves up could happen. Who knows? But, my ceiling comp for him is Jared Goff. And Jared Goff is a guy who's going to give you 12 to 15 QB finishes every single year. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? People, like we talked about it. If it doesn't work out for Shador Sanders right away, he's going to be worth a late first at some point or even an early second. Say, for instance, 3-4 years down the line, he moves on to a new team, kind of like a Sam Darnold situation, right? Sam Darnold, you were still getting a second for him in a lot of Superflex leagues once he joined Minnesota and he became the starter. So that kind of thing always comes back around. So even backup quarterbacks have value, right? Because we see quarterbacks go down every single year. So Shador at the 111 to me jumps out. And 1-6 Luther Burden, I love that. That's my wide receiver 1. So I was kind of hoping he'd be there at the 1-7. 2-1 Travis Hunter, who we're going to talk about here shortly. Caleb Johnson, Jalen Royals, Trey Harris, Devin Neal, Dylan Sampson, Jackson Dart picked by myself, Harold Fannin, hate you, Dustin, Elijah Arroyo, 2-9, Ollie Gordon, Cam Scattaboo, and the 2-12. So I already went on my soapbox about DJ Giddens. The Bashaw Tootin love for me has gotten a little bit out of control. I don't know if I'm ready to put him as a second-round pick in rookie drafts. A lot of people are excited about the explosion type plays, but if you're going to give me him at the 2-12 and RJ Harvey at the 3-7, give me RJ Harvey every single time, right? He's a better in between the tackles runner, better pass catcher, in my opinion. One of the things that really bother me about Bashaw Tootin is his use of hands. He's not a really good hands catcher. Some things I notice in his screen plays, he's letting the ball come into his body, and you guys both know you got to catch that with your hands and turn it upfield as quickly as possible. If you're giving defenders an extra quarter of a second to make a play, you just screwed the whole thing up right there, right? So I'm a little weary of Bashaw Tootin. Maybe I'm just the bearer of bad news, and this could be the guy I'm wrong on, but second round's a little early for me at this point.
Yeah.
What? Go ahead, Dustin.
No, I co-sign everything you said. I really have nothing to add to it. I mean, he had a great combine, right? That doesn't really move me too much. I'm gonna stick with what I saw on film, and I saw everything that you saw, brother. So go on, preach.
And to the combine definitely helped his stock, and I've said that on some shows here recently, that the combine is meant to help people's stock grow, not necessarily hurt them. Because the ones that have bad combines watch the tape and it's completely different. The ones that have good now go back and see, okay, are they really good on the film as well? Tootin, with that great combine with the speed he had, the rumbles of Devon Onchain, and he's bigger than him. Yeah, Devon Onchain is also in a great system that knows how to use that. Not every coach knows how to use these speed backs like that. So it is going to be a dependent one. I wouldn't say he's anywhere near that elite group. So, he's definitely he's not even in my top 10, right? Top 15 back end, maybe, but he's still someone I need to see a lot more for, and it needs to be used because right now he's just a third down back, a change of pace back if you need him, or a special teams guy to me.
Yeah, I mean, the athletic, I don't know if that's a word, but the athlete in him shows up on tape. So not tape. Geez, I can't talk. That shows up on tape. So him crushing the combine shouldn't really stand out to anybody, right? It's a guy who could break to the outside, make people miss. There's nothing that surprised me about his combine. It's just, can he be a good in between the tackles runner at the NFL level? I'm not 100% sure I'm sold on that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
At the 301, we have Damian Martinez, big time my guy. 3-2, great value. Jalen Monroe, Gunnar Helm, Xavier Restrepo. We already gave SC all the compliments in the world on that, so we're not going to do it again. Jaden Higgins, Besh, RJ Harvey, Brashard Smith, Elick Ayomanor, Mason Taylor, Terrence Ferguson, Isaiah Bond. I'm not going to go with any more spewing hatred here. So who stands out to you guys, positive or negative?
Man, so positive, I want to jump into this one and hit this right off the rip. 310, I'm looking at Mason Taylor right above Terrence Ferguson. Now, Terrence Ferguson is another guy that had a great combine, really elevated his stock. Oh, okay, Oregon boy. Should have known.
Let's go.
He's a great athlete. He was just very inconsistent to me on tape, and I don't know if that's that Will Stein offense. I don't know. I really have to delve into that further, but he never really did anything that stood out to me. Whereas Mason Taylor, man, I think he's got the bloodline. He put a lot of good things on tape for me. He presents a good target, great route runner. I think he just got overshadowed by a lot of those LSU wide receivers there. So I'm really liking that at 310, who I considered the better tight end, going over a guy like Ferguson right there. And then Mike, man, I was getting ready to flip you the bird, man. You sniped me right there at 3-7.
It's
RJ
all right. You got Brashard Smith, who's like right there for me as well, too.
Right there,
So,
right there. So
I have no issues there with that. SC, what about yourself?
I'm looking. I mean, to go off what he said with the tight ends, Mason Taylor and Terrence Ferguson, I'd take over Gunnar Helm. So Gunnar Helm at 3-3 is a little bit of a reach to me. Damian Martinez, I think, is a steal because I have Damian Martinez as a back end second. Like I'd have him over Gordon and two in there. And then Jack Beck as well. Horton, someone I would go over him. I wouldn't take Horton necessarily in the third, but I'd take him before Jack. So that one's a little bit of a stretch for me. RJ Harvey and Brashard Smith, y'all say they're kind of one and the same. So those are two great picks there as well. And these are when it comes to, like I said, the BPA. So it's best on your board available. Personally, I would have taken Giddens over him, over both of them. I just like Giddens' game. I like what we see.
Big time thumbs down on that one, big dog.
I think he could be a 3-down back. Where Harvey and Smith, they may have to fight to earn that, where they're going to be that change of pace right there. So, but the third round where you're going to either hit or you're going to miss. I know that's kind of cliche because that's like every pick, but these are like guys where it's like you really have to dive in and say, all right, these are who I like, right? Because it doesn't come down there. In my eyes, there's not really like a BPA on the board. It comes down to, all right, what do you know about the game and who are you looking at to say, all right, they make that difference. This is where it really comes to, we now have to look further into the team dependent. Like, do they have an opportunity? Are they buried on the depth chart? Where our first two rounds, it's guys like they just need to make that team and we're comfortable with it. These later third and fourth round, it's like, all right, where are they at and how does this team use that position? Because will it benefit them or not?
Yeah, like for sure. I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but the hit rates on the third round are extremely low. So it kind of is almost pick your poison time at this point. And real quick on that Brashard Smith pick, I love it because the trajectory for him is only upward, right? He's only been playing the running back position technically for a year. So there's some room for improvement, and there's already solid film on tape. And he's going to be a pass catching back right out the gate because he's a former wide receiver. So to me, Brashard Smith trajectory only up from here, in my opinion, as soon as he gets drafted. 4-1, we have Jarquez Hunter. Can't say that too quickly. DJ Giddens, Nick Nash, one of the most prolific wide receivers in this class who just gets under talked about playing at San Diego. But Woody Marks after that, Jordan James, Raheem Sanders, great pick. Jalen Noel, Will Howard, Torrey Horton, Ty Felton, Pat Bryant, and Savion Williams. What stands out to you guys here? We'll start with USC on this one.
I mean, Torrey Hilton's the steal of the draft, in my opinion. I think that's an excellent pick right there. That was a fantastic moving there for it. We get into, I think, the running backs early, with Hunter, Giddens, Marks, James, Raheem. I like them all. Raheem and Jordan James. Like, I know Bucky had all that hype last year. They're not the same. So Jalen Noel, Horton, Felton, all guys I would have taken above. Pat Bryant and Savion, if you like him, go ahead. But I don't think I drafted him in 4 rounds. So it's interesting because this is like a late run of running backs. And I think this, looking at who's still on the board, there's still some sleepers. But, I mean, it's those are really good for it. Jordan James, Raheem Sanders, I'm looking at it. Jadon Blue still on the board. Charles Brooks is still on the board. LaQuint Allen's still on the board. Some people I might end up taking over them, So this is where it gets fun. And, these late rounds, you're like, okay, what can we do? Will Howard, I know you mentioned he's your QB3, too?
He's my QB3. Yeah,
QB3?
He's my QB3.
I like it. I like his game, man, but not just him. In this class alone, it's hard for me to say, all right, these are franchise quarterbacks, like with any of the quarterbacks here. And maybe it's because I believe the next class is so much deeper that, granted, if these guys get first round capital, they're invested in some. But any other quarterback, even second round, if they're not in the first round, I'm questioning even drafting them because I know next year is so much more. So any quarterback not drafted in the first round this year is going to be, all right, are you going to earn that spot or are you a journeyman in the NFL? And that really comes down to, because there could be potentially 6 quarterbacks taken in next year's draft class if that it comes down to it, right? That's how deep that class is, where this is the year of the running backs, and we look at it, we see more green on the board than any other color, because this is such a stacked running back class compared to the other positions. So it in the later round for me, it becomes harder to take the quarterbacks. Knowing I don't feel anyone in this class is necessarily that franchise person.
Yeah,
Definitely, and I can't fault anybody for that line of thinking there. Will Howard, when I say he's my QB3, it's just I'm really just a Jackson Dart denier at this point. Honestly, I've tried to. I mean, I've tried to be nice about it, but maybe I'm just I don't know. Maybe I'm just a hater. Maybe I need to go back and watch this film. But
I think it's solid film overall. It's just that Ole Miss offense doesn't do him many favors.
It is, man.
Exactly, but he's got the mobility aspect too, so that certainly helps. I was
excited for him. I was excited for him coming as a recruit to USC. I'm a USC fan, so I was excited for him when he came over, and then of course we got Coach Riley and Caleb came and all that. So I definitely was excited for him at one point. Yeah.
But I love that Ty Felton pick at 410. That is one of my favorite wide receivers of this class. A guy I think that could get day 2 capital, really great route runner, can create in the short field, intermediate part of the field. Just a guy who gets open quick, to be super QB friendly. A guy you mentioned, SC, that isn't getting drafted that I do think is going to end up getting okay draft capital, where he's going to end up in these rookie drafts, or even if he ends up on your waiver wire, hey, congratulations, you might have just found something, right? LaQuint Allen. You want to talk about a guy who's a really good pass catcher who isn't talked about enough, LaQuint Allen. You want a guy who wants to get you 3 yards in a cloud of dust while he's not the biggest running back in the world. You just hand him the rock and he can get that first down for you, especially in those leagues where first down points or first downs equate to points. LaQuint Allen's a guy I'm going to be taking dart throws on, because that's just a dude who has a nose for the first down marker. And I'm big on LaQuint Allen. I like that call out by you.
Yeah, and I mean, again, this is a testament to show. I think I named 3 or 4 backs that it's a deep class, man. This is an excellent draft class for these running backs. And as I also said, hey, in the late rounds, don't overthink it. Take the running backs. Even though I took Xavier Restrepo, of course, your guys are gonna fall. Your receivers, your Feltons, your Hortons, your Howards, if you feel that way too. It's those guys will fall, and that's your time to take them. But this running back class is very deep, and you need to be on that.
How do I fix this?
I got it. You're good.
Okay. I was going to say, I don't know how to fix this. Yeah, I'm very excited to see how this class plays out. Dustin, is there a player that wasn't drafted that pops out to you?
I was going to say LaQuint Allen, just because that's somebody that people I trust are very high on. I haven't actually looked at his film yet, so I can't confidently say that, but I'm looking at my queue here, and I still got Quinn Ewers in here. Now, that's another guy I've been very critical of, but I know there's a lot of Ewers fans out there, and there's a lot of people that are saying, if he goes to a good spot, he's up there. So I was a little surprised to not see Ewers drafted here. I thought he'd go somewhere here in the 4th.
Yeah, for sure. The dart throw on QBs is never the worst option. It's just the running backs that I'm willing to take a gamble on kind of stand out a little bit more.
Yeah, and it will be interesting to revisit these and these placements for these guys after the draft, because I know it's something that I've talked about a lot. There's going to be certain running backs that are going to be pushed down just because of the natural depth of the class. Not all these guys are going to go into smash spots. They're going to be depth pieces behind. So I do expect a lot of these late round running backs taken in the 3rd probably to be pushed down a little bit. So I am just interested to see what this looks like post-draft.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I've been saying it all offseason that this is not the time to buy any running back in Dynasty unless it's Bijan, Gibbs, Saquon, Breece Hall. I would inquire about guys like Bucky and Josh Jacobs, because Josh Jacobs especially, he is the one there, and I don't think – I do think Marshawn Lloyd's going to eat into his role when healthy, but it's Josh Jacobs' backfield, right? I'm not trading for anybody, because this class is going to cause a lot of handcuffs to lose value pretty heavily, in my opinion. But let's get into the next topic here, and it actually has to do with this rookie draft. It was a conversation you had on the Devy Degens episode, SC, and this is a good question for Dustin as well. Before we put up the graphic here, Yeah. So, SC, you said on the Devy G-Gens, Cleveland out of the top 3 picks in this draft would be your worst case scenario for a running back. Is that correct? Am I right
Yes,
there?
sir. Yes, sir. When you look at the first 3, it's the Titans, the Browns, and then the Giants. I don't like Cleveland for the running back or for the quarterback. Excuse me.
Okay, Dustin, what do you think about that, real quick, and then we'll talk about it. How would you rank them?
How would I rank them in terms? So from the top 3?
Yeah, from the quarterback, like the best possible landing spot for a quarterback.
Okay, best possible, I would say New York, just because you got Malik Neighbors, you got a number 1 right there. I'd put Cleveland number 2, just because I do like Kevin Stefanski. I think he's worked well with some journeyman quarterbacks. Really, any quarterback that he's worked with has been able to find success there. So I would like that pairing, assuming he would be there to go through the rookie quarterback growth. Assuming the franchise doesn't move on from him after that, I would like that. And then Tennessee, I would have 3rd. I do like what they've done with the offensive line there. It's just it's hard for me to trust Tennessee to develop a quarterback at this point.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and that's kind of where I was going to go with what Dougie Fresh just said. Shout out to Devy Degens, by the way, part of Dynasty Degens, part of Nerd Boys conglomerate he's building over there. This was something that they talked about on the Devy Degens podcast. I would also rank Cleveland 2nd, especially for a quarterback like Cam Ward, who can win with the RPOs, the play action pass. I think that would be super impressive for him. And I think the collective of weapons there, obviously Malik Neighbors in New York is the best out of all of the weapons that either 3 of those teams have. But the collection of weapons at Cleveland is actually not bad if you really sit down and think about it. David Njoku, when healthy, is a very solid tight end. He's very good with any quarterback not named Deshaun Watson. Cedric Tillman, one of my favorite wide receivers. He's that big body ex-wide receiver that I just love no matter what. And Jerry Jeudy has started to come back with a little bit of a resurgence as a guy who just gets open and finally found his hands after a few years of not being able to find them. So the collective of weapons there, if they add a running back, it could be pretty solid in Cleveland if they end up with Cam Ward. Because Shefty said, I think it was yesterday on one of their ESPN shows, Cleveland wants Cam Ward. Now, will they be able to move up and get him, or does Tennessee pass on him? That remains to be seen. But to be honest with you, SC, I'm kind of intrigued by a Cam Ward landing spot. Shador and Dart, I might be a little bit more hesitant, but I think Cam Ward fits that system better than those 2.
So here's something that can have that happen. Kirk Cousins, has not signed, right? There, he's still eligible to be. Kirk Cousins goes to Tennessee. They draft Abdul Carter, and now you have your guy Cam Ward at number 2. I think if they get a quarterback, they're obviously building around him, right? But their weapons there are minimal at this point in time at every position, right? You mentioned earlier, Dustin, you like what they did with their offensive line. You have Ridley there, who had a good season. He's going to be their guy right now. You have Pollard, Tajay Spears, but they've already said they can possibly look at adding someone in the backfield as well. So maybe you don't get that quarterback quite yet because the other weapons aren't there. You lost Harold Landry. You go out there, you get the best defender in this class in Abdul Carter. Now you have this opportunity to have Cam Ward go to Cleveland. Now you can cook to what you're saying on those situations. We did see Jameis end up doing well. For me, it's you still have that nasty taste in your mouth when it comes to Cleveland. Like you haven't had those. We've seen the quarterbacks go through there and they not do well. Deshaun Watson, I know he's been plagued with injury, but before the time he was a top 5 quarterback before that injury. Baker Mayfield, we saw him there and then he left, and now look at him. And the offensive systems matter. I know Stefanski's different. All those things play into effect, but it just comes down to I just don't know if that's what a top quarterback will do. Like, does that hurt? Like, are they a top 10 quarterback in Cleveland? I don't know if I can say yes, even with the weapons they have.
That's fair. I was kind of hoping that T. Higgins was going to end up in Tennessee with his former offensive coordinator. He's from the Tennessee area. Then they would have drafted Cam Ward, and then I would have been all wheels up for Cam Ward in Tennessee. Chev, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I think I do prefer Cam Ward in Cleveland from a dynasty aspect over Tennessee. I know he's a big Tennessee guy, if I'm not mistaken, Dustin.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he's in there. He's in there.
I'm sure he'll be pretty upset. I also did see, by the way, New Orleans is kind of interested in Cam Ward. That would be very interesting with Kellen Moore, that Kellen Moore offense. They're going to be in cap hell for the rest of their lives. But
yeah. That's why I started shaking my head, man, because I'm like, how are you going to build around this guy? You've continually kicked the can down the road. Like, they just got to blow the shit up. And let's just reset.
I don't know if does the offense run as smoothly if Kamara is not there. That's I think Kamara is a big part of how that offense runs and how it can run smoothly. Even with Olave there, I get it. Olave is someone that it's in question now. Like, you need to buy low if you can, because people are worried about his concussion. So we know Kamara's on the back end of what we like for our running backs to be aged. So it becomes a big factor. And they're here. And I don't know if they have the juice to move up unless they're giving up someone like an Olave. They don't have necessarily as much youth as your other teams. They're built with a lot of veterans.
Brandon Cooks doesn't really tickle your fancy there, to be honest with you. Brandon Cook, he just signed back there with their. I'm kidding. Yeah, he's pretty much cooked at this point.
Oh,
yeah. Ward to Cleveland, Mike. I see you. Yeah. Listen, I think you and I talked about it, Cambodian Milk. We definitely talked about it recently. So it's a very exciting aspect. Last thing I want to talk about before we get into this conversation about these two rookies. Jameis Winston signed with the New York Giants before we came on. I believe it was a pretty cheap deal. That 1 year, what was it, $6 million or something like that? But there's like $16 million with incentives or something like that. If this dude plays one game, Malik Neighbors may break every single receiving record in one game, just with the amount of receptions, yards, touchdowns. It could be fun, but I don't think this stops the Giants from taking a quarterback. What do you guys think?
I think it could stop them from taking one in the first, because you have a guy that could build it, but I think they still get it in the draft. Again, when it comes to these early teams, if they're able to get the Winston, the Kirk Cousins, the Aaron Rodgers, why use that first-round pick to get a quarterback when you can get one later? As I mentioned, the later ones I feel are more your backup guys, where we know again, or we don't know. I believe next year's class is so much deeper. So it doesn't work out with these veterans. You're like, all right, well, now I have the 101 next year. I'm going to get Garrett Nussmeier. I'm going to get Kate Kublik. I'm going to get Lenora Sellers. I'm going to get, Nico Ayamalavia. There's so many people that you could throw out there. And again, next year can happen, and none of these guys we see are like, oh, they just drop off the face of the earth. Yeah. It happens all the time. But I think if they're invested in a veteran quarterback, they just want that bridge to say, we just need to get through this season. If it works out, awesome. If it doesn't, hey, we have a deep class next year as well. So I think it pushes them back to not get it, but that means they may end up trading that pick, because they're like, all right, we don't need to get Jackson Dart, here, or Shadur Sanders, whoever drops. We can trade back, get more capital, and fill out elsewhere we need, because they really do need a lot of help there too. So
totally. And man, it seems like Jameis Winston to the Giants has just been written in the stars for a while, man. Like, I know Matt Harmon was one that was talking about that. Like, a few months ago, he had tweeted about that. Like, hey, we need to get Jameis Winston to the Giants so we can just feed, hyper target Malik Neighbors and just break every receiving record known to man. That would just be great. And I mean, from a real football perspective too, the move does make sense. You got a head coach and general manager combination that they need to win. In order to keep their jobs, they got to win. I mean, the dude going on offseason Hard Knocks last year and just getting fucking exposed in front of everybody for the whole world to see. They need to win some football games. I think Jameis Winston definitely provides you that veteran quarterback that can lead games. Now, the real question is Jameis Winston going to be the good version of Jameis Winston, or is he going to be that other guy that we know? So I'm here for it, man. I'm just ready to see the fireworks. I think that personality of Jameis Winston in the New York media is just going to be great to see. Well, go ahead.
No, I would feed off on that too with the Jameis Winston there. He's a natural leader. Where even if he's not, if they're losing games, just like that though, like if they're not winning games, I guarantee you though that locker room is not defeated. He's in that locker room. He's
Yeah.
hyping them up, and he's saying, "Hey guys, like we need to go out there and eat." They can be 0-7, and Jameis is still on the field. He's gonna act like they're 7-0 and saying, "Guys, this is us." And that's what New York needs at this point in time after losing Barkley and seeing Barkley win that Super Bowl. They need something like that to just get the locker room back into rhythm, just say, hey, come in here and bring in this hype, bring in this energy. That's something that they need, and Winston will be great.
Can I give you guys a hypothetical that is just kind of like popping into my brain that kind of scares me? So say, for instance, the top 2 picks are quarterbacks, or maybe Travis Hunter or something happens, right? Let's say the Giants end up with Abdul Carter. Now they got Dexter Lawrence, Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau on the line. That's terrifying. Maybe Will Howard in the 2nd or 3rd, but what would really interest in me is Jalen Milroe in the New York Giants offense. With Brian Dable, who's worked with quarterbacks that are mobile, that came out of college not being the greatest of passers and working with them, man, if that happens, that might just, that'll flip my biscuit there, man. I would be super excited for that for Jalen Milroe. He wouldn't have to play right away with Jameis Winston. We'd get all of our happiness from a fantasy aspect with Jameis. And then, Jalen Milroe could sit there behind Jameis and learn how to be a passer. Maybe not from the interception aspect of Jameis's game, but having a guy like Dable teach a guy like Milroe might be a great fit to me anyway.
Yeah. I could see it. Dayball gets a lot of credit for what happened with the turnaround for Josh Allen. So you look at a guy like that who has the inaccuracy but is mobile and just an athletic freak. Man, if Dayball is allowed that time, if he's allotted the time to truly develop Milroe, then yeah, I'm all in, because I do think that there's more meat on the bone in terms of his development. I was really upset that Milroe didn't enter the transfer portal and go back to school, because Kalen DeBoer maybe didn't utilize him in the best way. I don't know if he's a good fit for that offense that really needs that field general type of quarterback. But he did show me some things in college that, like, wow, this dude can develop into something in terms of a legit NFL passer. I think back to, I believe it was 2023 Iron Bowl against Auburn. Man, it's like 4th and goal, game on the line, but they're pushed back 20 some yards. I think they only rushed 3, but he's standing tall in the pocket and just waiting, and he throws into the corner of the end zone to Isaiah Bond to essentially win the game. When I saw that throw, I'm like, man, you know what? There's something there. So if we could get a quarterback that could bring out that version of him on top of his rushing ability, then I'm all in. My only issue and my only hesitation, really, I should say, my only hesitation is the NFL is not for long, right? That's what NFL stands for, not for long. These coaches got to get guys that can win them games now, because if not, they're not going to have a job. There's no development in the NFL, unfortunately. So, I would have to know for sure that Dayball has allotted that time to properly develop it.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Dustin, because that's what I was say. I'm not in on Milroe necessarily. I'm just not in on a lot of Alabama quarterbacks, because I think they're blessed with what they have there as well, as far as like the systems and the receivers. But Milroe, I mean, Dabble, I was thinking the same thing with Dabble, right? As far as, he develops quarterbacks. I was excited for him to go, and I was like, Daniel Jones is about to be the second coming out. Like, he's about to turn this around, and it didn't happen. And then you go back and figure out, all right, what happened? Like, Josh Allen's still balling it, and Dabble's not there. Well, Josh Allen also said Chris Ness was a huge reason why he turned it around, because he was able to look at the biometrics of what he's doing in his passing game, how to adjust his hips, who Anthony Richardson is now training with that guy. So just, hey, maybe go buy on Anthony Richardson. But that, that's to my point of, like, Dabble's on the hot seat right now, where, to Dustin's point, if he doesn't win, he's out. Because it's either he's out or the GM's out, or maybe both of them. But they need to win something. I don't think they're a playoff team, even with this draft or whoever they get, but they need to win something, because if they don't go above 500, he's out and he's gone.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is there a kind of hope for him? Is there a record that makes him stay another year? Is 500 kind of the benchmark, I guess, at this point?
I would say above. No. He has to be above. He has to. That division's so stacked that I don't think they have the firepower. Like, Dallas, horrible, but they still have a better team than what the Giants have all around, right? So I think they need to be above 500, and they just miss because the other teams just do so much better. But I think, and even then, I still question it. Like, it's they just need to see it. I don't think they will. So.
Yeah, it's tough in that division, NFC East. Like, imagine being the owner and you're letting this GM run your team, and he ships off your best player to a division rival, and then they go out winning the goddamn Super Bowl. Like, I just think the writing's on the wall, even if they do get that. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure you do. Yeah, I'm sure you do. Yeah. Like I said, I just think the writing's on the wall, even if they do get to that 500 benchmark. I just don't see it, man. I don't see it unless you really see something really promising, I think, with whatever they got going on right now. I can't even think of a scenario. Maybe if they win a playoff game.
Okay. You guys killed my fantasy matchmaker thing there for a minute, but that's all right. I mean, hey, really anything is possible with this draft. It wouldn't shock me if the Giants take one of the top 3 guys at their pick, whether it be Shador, because that's what the rumors have been. They really like Shador. They met with Shador a lot, so we'll see what happens there. And then if Cam Ward falls, I don't think he makes it past 2 no matter what. So I think the Giants are pretty much going to have to pick whoever they think their QB2 is, or, Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. Well, let's get into our rookie profiles for this evening. We are going to start off with wide receiver Jalen Royals from Utah State, one of my favorite wide receivers of this class. Rich and I, mostly Rich, because Rich is the mastermind, the more artistic one of the two of us by a wide margin. I barely know how to use my computer, for Christ's sake. This is our rookie card for Jalen Royals. You can see here, Utah State, 6 foot, 205 pound wide receiver. Like I said, currently my wide receiver 6. We'll get into some things on the back, some stats for him. His freshman year, he played for Georgia Military School. So obviously, not a big time program or anything like that. But, he had 7 receptions, 92 yards, and 2 TDs, and then transferred to Utah. Didn't do anything. He didn't record any stats in 2022. But then 2023 and 2024 were his 2 breakout years. 2023, 70 receptions, 1,084 yards, 15 TDs. 2024, only played 7 games, 55 receptions, 839 yards, and 6 touchdowns. That is the stats. We have some PFF grades there for you guys as well. But let's talk a little bit about Jalen Royals, what we like so far. SC, we'll start with you. What do you like about Royals, and what do you dislike as well? Go right in both those.
I dislike the offense and how they use him, because I think he could be more beneficial as a slot wide receiver than he is as an outside wide receiver. And you didn't see that a lot in the offense. And I say that because he is very speedy, but I don't think he's someone that needs to be vertical. Like, he's someone that has nice footwork where you need him to open up in the middle of the field, because a lot of the passes where he did go in the middle of the field, you saw some great things happening. So I think for him to have better success, he needs to go to an offense that says, hey, we want to push you inside. We want you to move around. We want you to have that freedom, and you can use your speed and your footwork to get there. You have it there as a call as a press coverage. And again, I think that was just because he was on the outside. They didn't move him around as much to make him a weapon. It was more so like, hey, you are a great wide receiver. Because you're a great wide receiver doesn't mean you need to be the X. Doesn't mean you need to be the guy that's outside. You need to be someone that's fluent and is able to move around, and I think that's something that I didn't like as much, because it's just like, man, every time he was lined up and they just had him block or they had him run a vertical, quarterback didn't do anything and go after him. You're like, this guy is someone that can have burners and chop people up like they're, raw beef, if you will, just because he has those maneuvers to make it.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think, Dustin?
I agree with everything that SC said, man. What I like the most about him, though, is just his frame. I like how he's built. He's kind of got like that running back type of build, 6 foot, a little over 200 pounds. Mm-hmm. He's a great after the catch playmaker. And to kind of like to piggyback off what you were saying, SC, at the next level, I really hope that we're not asking him to be this outside X boundary wide receiver. Let's utilize him in motion. Let's get him some quick looks, some quick, easy looks. And man, he can make magic happen with the ball in his hands. He's got that good speed. I like his sharp footwork. He's got quick acceleration in my mind. I like his release package off the line. Did struggle a little bit with press. I've like you said, SC, that press, I just wasn't physical enough to get off the line there, and that could provide some hiccups if he's asked to do that outside. So let's move him around. I thought that he could attack all three levels of the field well, though. My only hesitation, again, is his level of competition. Of course, anybody that's playing in the Mountain West, I am going to have questions about your ability to win at the next level. But, I mean, he followed up everything that he showed on tape with a good combine. So that, to me, was like, okay, you're going to do good at the combine. I'm looking at this year, I think he had a damn near 3.00 yards per route run.
I have it here. It is 3 exactly yards per route run.
Okay, perfect.
That's there.
Perfect. Reliable hands. I think he's going to translate well to an NFL offense. I just do hope that he goes to a creative play caller that's going to utilize him correctly.
Yeah, right. I like that call out as well. I do agree with you guys when it comes to press man coverage. I do think he needs to get a bit stronger facing it. I also didn't think he faced the most amount of it either. I think this is a guy who can line up outside and on the inside. I would like to see him more in the slot because I do think he is a reliable target that can create after the catch, like you guys have mentioned. The release packages off the line, though, is actually pretty damn impressive. Dustin, and SC, I think I did text this to you as well. He had a dude panicking for his life in press man, just with the footwork off the line. And that is something he's capable of. It just needs to be a little bit more consistent and maybe has to get pressed more, if that makes sense. Obviously in the Mountain West and in college football in general, you're not going to see a ton of press man coverage, right? So the more he does it, the better he's going to get at it, in my opinion. Now, we mentioned the yak, we mentioned the speed. I do think for that 200 and some odd pounds, he's a strong wide receiver. You kind of see him shrugging off would-be tacklers with the ball in his hands. So I want to give you guys my ceiling comp here. I don't know if you're ready for this, SC. I think this one might shock you a little bit. If you're ready.
I got a sneak preview.
This is the absolute ceiling comp. All right. This is like if everything goes swimmingly, right? My ceiling comp for Jalen Royals is AJ Brown, physical wide receiver who can create in the middle of the field. I have it on my phone. I should have put it on the thing here. But when targeted in the middle of the field, he was an absolute demon. Those numbers for AJ Brown's last year in college to Jalen Royals' senior season would have been identical if Jalen played a full season. And just this is the way the NFL is going, right? Guys who can run routes, create in the middle of the field, and create after the catch is the way the league is going. So for me, I could definitely see an AJ Brown type of player from a Jalen Royals. Obviously not to that size. We're talking about a dude who's also 6 foot, 220 plus pounds compared to a guy that's 205 pounds, but he's got a stocky frame, creative after the catch. Just the player-wise, they play a similar game. And listen, I'm going to be all over him in rookie drafts because AJ Brown was a second-round pick in the NFL draft, probably a second-round pick in your rookie draft. You could listen, buckle up. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, no, I actually like that comp very well. I think that could be something special. What we were just talking about, I was going in my head like, all right, what's actually a really good landing spot? What if he goes to Jacksonville? They got a new coach there, and now he's opposite BTJ, but they don't need someone to play outside of him, right? Because you still have Gabe Davis there. So now you have someone that can be in the middle and take over that Christian Kirk role. Royals can be that guy, and he can actually be something very special for him.
That's a great pick right there.
I love that spot. He would eat in the middle of the field right there, kind of take over what I think Evan Ingram was used for. A different offense, I know, but for the team, I think that's the role that he would play. That's a beautiful call. I put in my notes here, my ideal offensive systems, and I put a West Coast offense, spread concepts that emphasize quick reads and high target volume, and teams with a creative offensive play caller. Liam Cohen, what a great call. That's amazing.
I'm glad you said that, Chev. So I was down at the Senior Bowl. I was lucky enough to be accepted to go down there. And it was, to be honest, if you guys are football degenerates like myself, you guys need to get down to Mobile to experience the Senior Bowl live and in person. Jalen Royals was not 100% down at the Senior Bowl, right? For the first 2 days, I did not see him lose a single one-on-one rep against any of the DBs down at the Senior Bowl. He was winning with footwork. He was winning with physicality. And you know what the great thing about the Senior Bowl is that's not talked about enough is that this is bringing players from all over the country. You got the SEC, the Big Ten, the Pac-12. You got everybody in the universe. And then you got a kid from the Mountain West Conference who went his freshman year to Georgia military school, balling against these dudes. Listen, put on a show at the Combine, put a show in the Senior Bowl. Would have been over 1,400 yards receiving if he had a full healthy season. Jalen Royals, man, is slept on, and I think he's going to be a second-round pick in the NFL draft and could be a top 24 to 30 dynasty wide receiver in the future.
Yeah.
Hey, it only takes one team. Only takes one team. That's all it takes. If he impressed at least one team that will, I don't want to say take a chance, but take him there with that high draft cap, man, it would be great. And I love the call out, man. I think he's just going to be.
That was actually
great
one
for
I didn't
real
even
teams.
think about. Yeah, I didn't even think about that one. That was a great call out by USC for Jacksonville.
Yeah.
That's not one that really stood out to me at all.
But-
I can't believe I didn't think of that.
But I mean, honestly, saying that, how many, when it comes to these GMs, sometimes I feel they don't watch the tape. Sometimes I feel they watch the combine. Sometimes I feel they look at where the player's at on the field and they don't think about, oh, I can move him around. And I say that because we see a lot of talent get drafted, and it's like, why aren't you using this guy to the best of their abilities? And I think you said earlier, Dustin, when we were doing drafts, like some of these coaches don't use their players to their best fit. So they're going to see some tape on Jalen Royals and say, hey, he's not the strongest outside guy. Well, it's like, yeah, but use him in the middle of the field, move him around, and let him use his speed to just bring defenders away from whatever your X wide receiver is, or because your X wide receiver is so good, he's the one that's open and he could be a home run hitter for you. So it's going to take a genius, if you will, just someone that knows, hey, I have a special talent here. This is someone where I can actually use this player in the way that I feel he can actually find stronger success, and I don't know if a lot of GMs or coaches necessarily do that as well. We see some great offensive coordinators that are masterful, and you get a player that goes there, you're like, oh, I need to draft these players because they're going to use it. They know how to maneuver their guys. And then you see somewhere it's like, it's a trap there. I'm not going to take anyone that touches your side of the field because I don't trust your ability to coach them in the right way that they need to be coached.
Yeah, it's tough when you got. Go ahead,
Dustin. No, go ahead. I got one. Go ahead.
It's tough when you got owners like who's the Jets owner, Woody Douglas, who's using Madden ratings to determine who he's going to sign. Like it is tough when you got that element, right? Like these pushy owners that they want their guys. So that's always something too I consider. Usually those trash franchises that never really develop anybody, they got that history. You could kind of like, okay, I'm not going to trust this landing spot too much. That's how I always approach it. Like, they don't have the best track record of developing these guys. I don't really trust them to use this player to the best of his ability.
100%.
I just thought of another spot for him. I actually thought of two more spots for him. Tell me what you think of these two. Houston.
Man,
I thought about it without thinking about Christian Kirk, so kind of ignore what I just said there.
Even then, because I completely forgot about Kirk too. But even then, it's just like I still feel Houston needs to understand who they are as an offense. Like I feel we saw the great upside in CJ Stroud as a rookie. Then we saw the sophomore slump, and now it's like, all right, who are we as this offense? Are we going to run through Nico? Are we going to run through Joe Mixon? Are we going to utilize what CJ Stroud has? There's a lot of question marks for me in the offense in general. The defense is solid. I love the defense there. I think they're set in stone there, but I think they still need to find their identity as an offense as far as what they want to, even for any player, not just Rose, any wide receiver there. I don't know how much I would necessarily love it outside of Egbuka, but that's just because it's a reunation there. But it's still like I don't know. So
anything on Houston, Dustin, before I give you my last one?
No, not really.
All right. Oakland or Vegas with Pete Carroll. You mentioned a West Coast offense. I think that would be very interesting for a guy like Geno Smith, who, was feeding JSN, who I'm not comping Royals to JSN. They play a bit of a different football game, but they do eat in the short to intermediate part of the field. And I think that would be a good spot.
Yeah, I love that with Chip Kelly calling plays there too. I think he's that right mix of creative play caller that you would ask to utilize him correctly. Maybe even get him some quick, easy looks. Maybe motion him out, give him a quick handoff, something like that. I think that could be a good spot for sure. But I'm big on Chip Kelly. I don't know about how you feel about Chip Kelly.
As an Eagles fan, I hate Chip Kelly for what he did. But
that's fair. He shipped away some legends.
Yeah, he did. But I can't argue with the success as an offensive play caller he is, right? The Eagles offense was extremely productive when he was here, and then he was extremely productive in all of his college stops on offense, right? Especially at Ohio State. Now, was that him or the collection of talent he had at Ohio State? I'm very interested to see where he ends up in these rookie drafts and in the NFL draft. I think second round capital, or at worst third round. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. And to kind of just call it out, that would be a great fit. I think people sleep on Jacoby Myers a lot, and I think that's the same way you can argue with Royals. Like he may not be your 1,000-yard receiver every single season, but he's going to have some good seasons, and he's got some consistency to him. Again, in that right offense that knows how to use him. Like you can easily see him as a 60, 70 reception type of guy and 800 to 900 yards. Nothing that's breaking the internet or anything, but still something where it's like, all right, if you have him on your fantasy teams, he's someone that you can trust in your starting lineups as well.
For sure. Draft capital, Dustin?
Man, the heart wants to say round 2, but I think he slips to day 3, early day 3. I think his level of competition is going to push him down in some GM's minds. Injury late in the season. I think just little things like that, whether or not it's fair or not, I just think that that's going to be held against him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
like I said, my heart. Yeah, my heart wants him there.
Teams always eat up that value, though. Things like this kind of happen. The late or the mid-season injury. Well, what was that, week 7? So yeah, it would technically be a late season injury for them. But this dude was still cooking at 70% at both the Senior Bowl and the Combine. So let's get into our next player here. A very, very interesting player, because he's one of the first players we've ever seen play two ways in Travis Hunter, a projected top 5 NFL draft pick, I would surmise. Plays both wide receiver and cornerback, 6 foot, 188 pounds. Let's start off with this. Do you see him playing both ways in the NFL, or what happens?
I think it's something that a team might try, because he's talented. And, Mike, we're in the chat. I said I'm going to be the villain and try to find something bad about Hunter. It's very hard to find something bad about Travis Hunter on both sides of the ball, right? I mean, he could be a playmaker on the offense. He could be someone that shuts down some of your top guys on the defensive side. I think a team will try to use him. I know he said he wants to do that, but I think for us as an offensive or fantasy, for us to get the best person on the field as far as a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL, he needs to play solely that position. Like it's just it's a different beast. You have bigger men coming after you to attack you, to bring you down. You can't take that type of wear and tear. At least in my opinion, Travis Hunter can be built different. 100%. We could see history in the making, but I think it's gonna be very hard for us to see a top 5 wide receiver type of trajectory for him if he's playing both sides of the ball.
What do you got?
Yeah, completely agree with you there. From a fantasy aspect, it's going to be tough to trust, right? It's going to be trust. It's going to be hard to trust him to put up those top 12, top 24 wide receiver fantasy seasons with him playing both sides. But I think it's going to pay off. I think that if you take the chance on him in your rookie drafts, it will pay off, because I keep thinking, man, down the road, he's eventually going to choose one of these 2 positions full time. And I'm hard pressed to think that he's going to choose anything other than wide receiver. I've watched all of his snaps on all 22, and he's a hell of a cornerback. but he's not as good of a cornerback as he is wide receiver.
That was going to be my next question. Is he a better wide receiver than he is corner, in your opinion? So you say wide receiver over corner, Dustin. SC, what do you say?
Yeah, wide receiver for sure.
Am I skitzing out on your screen, or is it just my?
No.
Okay, good.
You look good.
Very good.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. I look good. Thank you for that. It makes me feel nice inside. No, but it does look like I'm skitzing on my screen. I apologize. Yeah, I completely agree with you guys. I think he's a better wide receiver than he is a corner, but that's not taking away from anything he can do as a ball hawk as a corner, right? This dude's instincts as a corner, absolutely fucking insane. We just saw him go in our rookie drafts in the second round. Is that where you guys would be comfortable taking him?
Yeah, late first, early second. I would personally.
You know, if I'm in IDP drafts, he's my 101 because you're like, all right, this is it, right? You take him, and I know people are gonna hate that and be like, why not Gentry? Because now I get the best of both worlds. I could get a quarterback or a wide receiver here, and it's a cornerback that could be a playmaker and get hands on the ball as well. But as far as where am I taking them drafts? It really does. I really do worry about the team and how they want to use him. They can overuse him at this next level. Like if he's leading in snaps, I don't know if I necessarily want that. That could be something that gets him hurt, week 7, something like that. So personally, where he went second round, like, because once again, there's gonna be a certain point where it's like, all right, if he's there, I'm taking him. So
too good a value.
Yeah. Looking at our draft, 2, 3, 2, 4. I mean, because that's where that tier comes in, where it's like he's the best, easily on the board here. So it just worries me on what a team can do. Again, we just talked about GMs. I think a lot of them are idiots, and they're gonna do dumb things with a talent like this. So.
Yeah, I actually really like what you said about IDP. So in normal Superflex drafts, I'm pretty comfortable taking him at that like 112 to like 204 range, early second, late first. Just because I really like the talent at wide receiver. We'll talk about that here shortly. But I like what you mentioned about the IDP aspect of this because, in a lot of IDP leagues, you have wide receivers. So if the ball's picked off, wide receivers that make tackles after an interception still accrue points, right? So you're getting that wide receiver points from Travis Hunter. You're getting the defensive points from Travis Hunter, both on defense and offense, because picks are going to happen and tackles on offense are going to happen. So I have no argument at like the 102 to 103 in IDP leagues taking him because you mentioned best of both worlds and just a dynamic playmaker. Doesn't come around too often that can play both sides. I take Trey Havers over Hunter. As a wide receiver, man, I don't know about that one. If you told me, so we'll get into the pros and cons here, but real quick, just look at the stat stuff. 2023, 57 receptions, 721 yards, 12.6 yards average, 5 TDs. 2024, 96 receptions, 1,258 yards, 15 TDs. Heisman winner, if I'm also not mistaken there, if I had to go back in my memory. So that's also huge. But to go over the pros and cons, man, for me, it's kind of hard to find a comp for him because we don't really see players like him all that often, right? If you were to tell me right now that Travis Hunter is going to play wide receiver full-time, will not touch the defensive side of the ball, he is my wide receiver 1 easily. Yep. And he's probably my 101 over Genty because, one, you're going to get longevity of a wide receiver longer than you are running back, right? And just the electric playmaking that this dude offers. To me, he is the love child of Malik Neighbors and Devontae Smith. He's got the electric playmaking of a Malik Neighbors. He's got the create the yards after the catch like Malik Neighbors. But he's also got that nuance and going up and grabbing the ball of a Devontae Smith to his game. So, and also the slim size. He's 188 and still somehow, 10, 15 pounds bigger than Devontae, but still at 188, still a slimmer body guy. Really the only cons for him from the offensive side of the ball, I know Rich put a lot of cons or a couple cons for the defensive side, is just really the size, right? Like I don't see a whole lot of cons for this dude as a wide receiver. Like if I can get him at the 2-1 in a rookie draft and he plays wide receiver, you guys fucked up, right? I think this dude This dude's
100%.
special.
No,
it's a ballsy call in your rookie drafts, I think, to take him. But like we've said, I think it's going to pay off for you because eventually he's going to go down this route. I mean, I know Chev has been on a lot of podcasts lately, and he's been saying this thing like, would you rather make more money or would you rather make less money in your career? And I think he's ultimately going to follow that. It's if he goes to the Patriots, okay, he goes to the Patriots. You think he's better? You think he's a better corner than Christian Gonzalez?
no.
Because I don't think he is.
No.
But I am pretty confident in saying that he'd be their number one wide receiver.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
He would add a different dimension to the wide receiver room that the Patriots haven't seen since Randy Moss. And I'm comfortable saying that. I'm not comparing the two, but they have not had a wide receiver of this talent since Randy Moss, right? Obviously, Randy Moss, Hall of Fame wide receiver, one of the best to ever do it. I'm not going to comp him to that, but just the absolute athletic ability, the twitch in his routes, the understanding. And I think the playing corner also helps him as a wide receiver, the understanding of leverages. He was absolutely just gaining leverage on every single UCF corner he could possibly get in that game. And he does it against everybody, but that just stood out to me. Just a super special player, man. And having that on my dynasty roster, whether it pans out or not, I'm willing to take that gamble, just not super early in a regular Superflex draft. IDP, like you mentioned, SC, I'm willing to go a little bit higher, obviously a lot bit higher.
I kept this comment up because I think it's very interesting. Hunter has more talent at the wide receiver position, but the scarcity at the cornerback could be very important in some teams. If he lands to a team with good cornerbacks, be willing to draft Hunter for sure. And that I think that's to the point of if he goes to the Patriots, we know they have Christian Gonzalez. Sure, they need someone opposite, but we know he's not this cornerback one. We know he could be their wide receiver one. So it definitely becomes that team dependent. Like I've seen some mocks where it's Jacksonville getting him, and I would hate that. I would absolutely why would you do that? You know, I don't understand why you need a talent like that when you have BTJ. If for him to have that success as one of these stud wide receivers, it needs to be a team that needs one. If he goes to Tennessee, that would be awesome. I would take that too. That's because he can play, but he can be the CB1 or the wide receiver one on both sides of the ball. Granted, I don't think he's going to play both sides, but I think that's something there. The money is where the wide receivers, but I think he has an easier route to being the highest paid cornerback than he does the highest paid wide receiver.
Yes,
that's fair. Yeah, I could see that. But the thing is like we see wide receivers breaking that payment every single other week, whether we think they're the top guy or not. I mean, obviously Jamar Chase and Jefferson just got paid. So those guys obviously are the top upper echelon guys of this wide receiver, world that we live in right now. But Jacksonville would be like borderline interesting. It would add a super dynamic player alongside Brian Thomas Jr. But they need a lot more help on corner than they do in the wide receiver room, in my opinion. So that would scare me a little bit because, in my opinion, he'd probably play more defense than I'd be comfortable with if he ends up in Jacksonville.
JBS here. You don't think Hunter will be a top quarterback on his team? He can be, but we're saying in New England.
Yeah.
New England is not. I mean, this isn't even me being an Oregon fan. This is just saying Christian Gonzalez is a dog, man. And you saw the defense hurt when Gonzalez got hurt, right? So there are some teams, just like there's some wide receiver rooms where he won't be the one. I mean, if he went to Detroit, it's still Amon-Ra. If he went to, the Vikings, it's still Jets. If he went to the Bengals, it's, there's still some rooms that he won't be the one, and that's just there's some guys that are studs, and it's just gonna happen. But he would be the number one cornerback in Jacksonville. So if they draft him, for sure, use him as a cornerback. Iron sharpens iron, right? So you have it like then the Jets, they have Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. They have BTJ and Travis Hunter. They're both gonna be studs, So
that's actually a good one. Travis Hunter or Garrett Wilson. Who would you rather have as a wide receiver for dynasty purposes? Say for instance, know that Travis Hunter is going to be a more prominent wide receiver than corner. Who do you like better there?
I'm really thinking about that. If you have an answer, Dustin, go ahead. I'm really thinking.
I mean, at this point, gun to my head, I'm going to say Garrett Wilson just because I've seen him do it. I mean, with Travis Hunter, we're projecting, and he's the new shiny toy. I think his upside at wide receiver is really high. But like I said, with all the questions that we still have, I've seen Garrett Wilson do it with not the best quarterback play. I've seen him do it with Zach Wilson.
Mm.
So, I mean, that itself lends some more credence to me. So, yeah, Garrett Wilson, just because I've seen him do it. But I would not be surprised at all to change my answer a year from now.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too.
With Garrett Wilson right now, he hasn't had a true quarterback for him. Aaron Rodgers, that was a wash. Like everyone that got hyped about it, bro. I mean, come on, that was a wash. Like it wasn't happening. But if he gets a solid quarterback, it's a whole different ballgame there at that time, as well. Travis Hunter, I want to see him play with another quarterback that's not Shedeur Sanders.
That's a good call too. He's only played with Shedeur pretty much his entire college career. So that's going to be very interesting to see how things look.
Oh,
R.I.P. Foreman.
Come on, Jamie. Yeah. Jesus, you do that. News, breaking history facts to me, Jamie. Just like we need to
bringing the mood down.
Yeah, bringing it like we need to bring him on the show just for like the random facts and stuff.
That is really sad.
Yeah, it is.
R.I.P.
I think he's a top 5 locked NFL draft pick.
Hunter,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, there's no way he falls past 5.
There's too many variables on what he could do for your team, whether it be on offense or defense. Again, I don't a smart team. I don't think uses him on both sides of the ball just because of the physicality of the NFL. But he is a talented player, and I mean, it can't be argued that he's the 1-on-1.
Yeah. So what do you think that looks like, SC? If he is playing both sides, is it to start at least? Is it primarily on defense with some offensive packages, or is it the other way around where he plays primarily wide receiver with some packages on defense?
You're gonna get the better situation if he's primarily defense and you have him in packages on offense, because vice versa, if you have him limited on offense, he can make big plays. If you have him limited on defense, that can hurt your defense in general because you're trying to bring him in and bring in packages, but yet he's tired out. Well, on offense, if you just need him to go in there and play in the slot or just play outside for a roll and then get the ball or end in round route or something, that's something that he can break those big plays and have it. So he can have a limited offensive ability and still be a lockdown corner, where I don't think he could be a full-time wide receiver and still be a lockdown corner.
I was listening to a pod today that basically said learning the corner position, especially at the NFL level, is harder than learning the wide receiver position just because of the difference of packages, the difference in zone coverages, stuff like that. So that's going to definitely be something he's going to have to learn. And it's probably going to take him more time to learn. So it wouldn't shock me if we start to see him more on defense than offense in the beginning. I tweeted out the other day with watching his film. So I had been waiting to watch his film because I felt super uncomfortable, kind of like we talked about. Is he a corner? Is he a wide receiver? I don't know. Finally turned on the tape this past week. This dude looked like 2003 Kane, just out here torturing people. And it just was like he was making it look too damn easy. So this is going to be a very fun prospect in the coming future.
Oh man, I wish we had linked up a little earlier, Mike, because I've been singing his praises for a while. I mean, he played right in my backyard, man. I got to watch a lot of Travis Hunter, and it was just so much fun, man. It was a party in Boulder every week, man. It was something else.
Have you been to a Colorado game?
Yeah, I've been to a few. Yeah.
Oh yeah. How's the atmosphere?
Yeah,
I've only been to a Penn State game, and I could go without going to that again.
Well, I don't know if it could compete with a wideout at Penn State, but
true.
After Coach Prime got there, the whole atmosphere just changed.
I can see that.
Yeah, totally, man. Just got NFL faces all over the coaching staff too. It was fun. Like I said, it was a party, man. Lil Wayne showed up.
Nice.
One time, just
awesome.
down there, I was like, oh shit, look, there's Wayne. But it's been singing his praises as wide receiver for a while. Some people thought I was crazy, and I'm like, look, I'm telling you, man, he's cooking these dudes. He may not. I think he needs a little more branches in his route tree, but what he does run, man, that shiftiness, that athleticism that he has, like he was cooking some boys out there, man. And I know it was a limited sample. I'm looking for it, but Matt Harmon finally did his initial sample, I think 4-game sample of Travis Hunter, and he said he had 100% contested catch rate.
Damn.
And I don't know how many games you've seen with these guys. Shador would straight up just throw it up to him.
Oh,
It was a game, I forget who they were playing, but there was legit 3 people on Travis Hunter, and Travis Hunter climbed that ladder and came down with the ball. Like he has so much of that shit on his tape that it's Sunday shit all over his tape, man. And I just don't know how you could. We said this on Twitter today. I don't know how you could see his play at wide receiver on film and say that he's a better cornerback. I just don't see it.
For sure. That's why I see the Devontae Smith, even just with the size. Devontae, like, say what you want about his size. That dude's going to try to moss 3-4 people at one time, no matter what. He's got that dog in him. And I can see that with Travis Hunter as well. Again, super excited for him to come out. Locked in top 5 NFL pick. Very confusing dynasty draft pick at this time until we get some more clarity. But let's get into our goodbyes here. We'll start with Dustin first. Dustin, you got anything you want to plug, anything you want to say to the doghouse before we let you go?
Man, first, thanks for having me on, fellas. I had a great time talking with you. SC, great meeting with you. We're gonna link up soon and get some Devy stuff done.
Yes, sir.
But you can find me on Twitter or X, Empire Elite FF. I also got a free Discord, Empire of the Elite. Me and my boys over there, we're starting to cook out some Devy content. We're new, just starting out, but we got some exciting stuff going on right now. A lot of mock drafts right now. I'm going to be instituting something called Scheme Wars, where we look at the different offensive systems throughout college, how they're conducive for fantasy production, and that translation to the NFL. So got some fun stuff cooking right now. So go ahead. You could reach out to me on Twitter. I have the link to the free Discord there, or just DM me and I'll send it to you. But we got a really good community there. We did put this, you're in there, Mike. We did put this in the Discord, and man, people just ate it up. They're ready to hop in here. So I'm just super excited for what the future holds.
Yeah, I will say for sure your community that you're building is a very fun and a very interactive group. Very good conversations going on at all hours of the evening. So I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
So again, I can't wait to see what you guys have in the works. You have talked to me about what you kind of have an idea in place, and you just mentioned it here. So I'm very excited to see the growth for you guys because you are some great people. So I'm very excited to see how it goes.
Thank you, sir.
And SC, Devy Mastermind, tell us about it.
Sure.
Say your goodbyes to everybody.
Yeah, man. Well, first off, Mike, thanks for bringing me on. Always a pleasure being with the dogs. Like I said, all bark, right? I mean, all bark and bite. We say it loud and we say it proud and we're ready to bite back, right? So, Dustin, pleasure, talk to you. I'm excited to work with you and do some things with you, with Devy. I think it's gonna be great. I love the Devy community. So definitely all support. You need it, let us know, man. We're here for you as well. We got some interesting things coming for the FFU. As you know, Dynasty Dogs, Devy, y'all are killing it. We appreciate everything y'all are doing. We're growing, man, and like you, Dustin, I mean, it's a constant evolution, right, of learning how we can get better, how we can change the game, how we can watch these prospects differently, and what we're looking for. So a lot of big things coming from the FFU, from myself in the FFU with the Devy community. We'll be giving out some snippets here and there as the time progresses, but we're cooking on some things in the back end that we just hope everyone's here watching it, and y'all keep enjoying and watching our shows and engaging with us, man. That's what we like. So
yeah, and I see you threw another wrestling reference in there with evolution, because evolution is a mystery. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys coming on. I know this episode probably went a little longer than we expected, so I apologize for that. Listen to me ramble through all the words that I'm screwing up. So I appreciate both you guys having on. This will be it for the Dynasty Dogs. We will be back next week in the doghouse, possibly with Rich. So for the Dynasty Dogs and the FFU, we will see you guys next time. Have a good night.